Hello there, good evening. Welcome back to Celtic World Order podcast. As always, I'm Steve O'Matt. It's a warm welcome to you back to the channel for a wee bit more Celtic chat. As you can see, joined with my bearded brother, my right-hand man, it's Paddy Boy. And before we crack on, in a wee bit of advance, I do apologise. You could probably hear me. We would have been out a wee bit sooner. However, I've fallen foul to this new variant of COVID. I believe it's called Stratus or something. Rips your throat apart, sore head, blocked up nose. So a wee bit of delay. But we are here and we're always here, as we always say. We've got plenty of things to look back on for the weekend there. A wee bit of VAR controversy. It's beautiful, isn't it? The way it goes. Results were. And of course, we'll talk about, as it says there, balls of steel, because it was Iheanacho late into the game that stepped up and secured the win one way or another. It was far from a classic. But that then begs the question, can the man that came in unfancied, apparently overweight, and on a free transfer, can he be the man? Can he be the guy that fills the void that we've been waiting for and kick on and guide this team through thick and thin? So we'll get down to that as always. But before we do, just Paddy, how are we feeling? Are you feeling a bit better than me?
I am feeling fine, mate. I'm all right. I've got my wee zero corona here, keeping me company. And as I said over on the TikTok channel when we were going to talking about coming live, I would rather play shite and win than be 10th. So
Absolutely.
yeah, I'm quite good, mate. I'm happy to be here.
Yes, absolutely. And we'll get through it and we'll talk about it. You know, you have probably spoken about it before. Get your thoughts in. Let us know what you're thinking for everything and anything. What do you think about the performances individually? What did you think of the game in general? What did you think of the talking points? What did you think of the VAR instance, the Kelly claim for a penalty, the penalty that we got? And of course, the rumblings off the field continue on. There's going to be some further movement. There's some further movement for the fans group that'll be coming from that. We'll talk a wee bit about that. And then, of course, we'll look towards games upcoming and why it is important, Paddy, for us to continue the winning ways, regardless of how they come, because there's a cup game against Partick at the weekend. We've got Hibs, we've got Red Star. So there's plenty to talk about. Before we do that as well, we'll say a wee bit of housekeeping at the front end. Welcome back to the channel. The channel has grown well over 2,400 at the moment now. We want to get to 3,000. You know what to do. Hit subscribe. It costs you absolutely nothing. And that is what I've got to ask you. The question is, can Iheanacho become the main man? But there's the biggest question is, why haven't you subscribed? Look at that. Since the 20th of August, there's still a whopping 58% of you guys that are watching out there that haven't subscribed. And it costs you nothing to do it. 2 seconds. Hit it. Help the channel out. Get us on our socials elsewhere. X at CWPod1888. Paddy's infamous TikTok. And there's a few folk coming in for there. Of course, Bhoys, Spotify, Instagram. So, Paddy boy, let's get down to business, as we always say. Game of the weekend. Was it as you expected? Did you think that we would have come back with a wee bit more fire in the belly after that international break, or was it very much par for the course for you?
Listen, we know what it's like over on that pitch. I mean, you can use it as an excuse as much as you want, but listen, it's a horrible part to play on, and it's somewhere that we've struggled previously. So obviously, we were debating the team lineup, talking about who we were thinking was going to be put in there and stuff, and it is one of the places. It's an easy banana skin, and I was, listen, my usual confident self going in there saying, "Yeah, we'll squad them 4-0, blah blah." Steve-O, cautious. Joe was cautious. I sat and watched the game with Joe. Joe actually put on Maeda 2-1. So do you know what? Brilliant, mate. I was absolutely
buzzing. That was a good wee wedge you got out of that, wasn't it?
Yeah, absolutely fantastic. So we're sitting there, and obviously when we got the penalty, Joe's like, I can't watch it. This is a guy that was going to cash in at like 40 quid, and I told him no, I wouldn't do it. It says if it was me, I'd just leave it. And you know what? Thank God it came in for the boy. I was delighted. So, aye, excellent. Like I said, hard place to go. Happy with the 3 points. No.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, we saw the lineup. When we spoke a wee bit about it, we knew there was going to be changes in there, didn't we? Of course, Casper, Donovan, CCV, Scales, Sarashi, Nigrin, Cal, Rio, Balakwisha, Maeda, and Tuneki. It was pretty much what we expected. The big question was always going to be, were you going to get both CCV and Tierney left out the squad? We opted to just leave out Tierney. Made a wee bit of sense there. Donovan came in. Thought he handled himself pretty well, exactly as you'd expect there. And overall, I think it was one of these sort of typical sort of performances for us where I wasn't quite sure what to expect we'd heard all the chat for the manager, we'd heard for Cal McGregor, and a wee bit of me sort of thought, right, we're going to do a wee bit different. We're going to be a wee bit more direct. There's going to be a lot more purpose. And bar Taneki, it just sort of felt up until the point where we scored at 56 minutes through that first half, it just felt like it was going to be another one of the dragged out days. And of course, the way that we go over it's neither here nor there. But are you giving allowances, Paddy? Bearing in mind that there were some guys that were away on internationals, they come back in, they drop in, they're trying to get up to speed. Whereas you look at Kelly, for example, I don't know if there is any internationals here. I don't think there is, but they had the best bit of 2 weeks just to focus and dial in on that game. We had a couple of days together with the complete squad, and then we thrust into that game. Do you give a wee bit of allowances for that out the back of it?
No. If you're playing for Celtic, mate, you should be able to play 10 games in a week. I don't care about all of this stuff. Oh, they need a wee rest, they need to do this. Nah, you're a professional footballer. It's your job. And as Roy Keane would say, just do your job. It's as simple as that. I don't care if they flew in from the other side of the world or not. You want to play for a team like Celtic, you need to be up there and you need to be able to give it. So yeah, listen, there's a few guys in there. The one obviously we will touch on. He spoke about Balikwisha. Now, for me, he's Louis Palmer. He's got Louis Palmer with a mask on, innit? It just, for me, he's the one. We chased this guy. We chased him for about 3-4 years, and he's come in. Yeah, listen, he's only had two games or something in the hoops, but the game against Rangers, he looked petrified at Tavernier, and then I thought, right, we'll give that his debut, give him a wee rest, and then he's come in there, and he just looked. He looks scared again. He looks as if he's just scared to take a player on, cuts back in all the time, and that's not for me.
Well, do you know what? Let's jump in as we normally do when we're looking back. You have watched your post-match breakdown type shows, and you've had your fill of that since Sunday, haven't you? So, as we always like to do, let's have a wee talk about the sort of the performances then.
Yeah.
Maybe some of the omissions for the team, for example. People are talking about Bernardo, and that's one that I want to go on as well. But let's have a wee look back at some of those. Now, this is what I want to get, and I want to sort of caveat it straight off the bat. Yes, it is only 2 games in. I have seen enough in Balikwisha in terms of, I know, YouTube, CSC, and the videos and all that kind of stuff, to sort of say, do you know what? I think there is definitely a bit of a player in there. I'll bring up his wee stat screen just again, so we can actually remind ourselves what we chased, what we went after, what Celtic went out their way to buy, and this is it here. Now, you make a good point. And it's maybe it is too early to judge. I'll say that with Balikwisha. But I said to you, Paddy, when we done the pre-show, I says, Celtic at this moment in time, between now and January, yes, I'm proven wrong because Maeda scores, of course he does, he leads the line. But I says, you don't know what you're going to get out of Maeda. Not sure what exactly we're going to get out of him at this moment in time. So you are kind of hedging your bets. You are kind of hoping that your front three, your Iheanacho, Balikwisha and Taneki come in, hit the ground running and give you the supply, right? That's what you're hoping for. First game back, international break, settling in. I again thought that Balikwisha, as you says, you could have interchanged them with Palmer. You could have interchanged them with Tilio. You could have interchanged them with Haksabanovic. I felt that it was much of a muchness. Now, when I look at his stats there, when we have a wee look at what we got in, it's not massively devastating. 188 games, 39 goals, 21 assists, right? He did have a good wee patch when he came back at the tail end of last season, where he was out for ages, he played 10 games, 4 goals and 3 assists, right? And then he had 1 goal before he signed for us from there. Now, what I would say is when you compare and contrast, it was a game of 2 same wingers for me, Paddy. On one side, you've got Taneki, who was a blast for the past. Like a winger of the old, where he was picking up the ball, he was committing his man. And when you actually look at this here, for those that like this kind of thing, when you actually look at the players, in fact, I've not brought it up, my bad. When you look at his heat map, for the game, it's predominantly everything within the opposition half is concentrated down and around the corner flag with a couple of defensive sort of patches back at the tail end. But all the thick, hot areas, as they call it, with the heat map, are square exactly you want it. Edge of the box in the opposition half, down the byline. And then you look at Balikwisha on the other end, and I didn't feel we got that same sort of purchase there. People have said, game at Ibrox, massive game, could scare anybody. And folk have also said, terrible pitch, terrible weather. What do you expect? Now, again, for the balance here, Paddy, we're just talking about what we've seen in that game there. We're just talking about two performances. We're not saying that that's going to be the status quo, that's just going to kick on. That is what you're getting out of Balquisha. Far from it. Just at the moment, with the two performances we saw, it looks like a guy who is maybe having a bit of a sort of identity crisis to find his way into the team, because you can take that idea of being a bad pitch and a bad team to play against and a bad weather and chuck it right out the window, because you get Kelechi, who straight in, it's his first game and he takes to it like a duck to water.
Yeah, listen, Taneki for me was this absolute standout. Guy was brilliant going forward. And what I say as well, I got a bit of stick because I say obviously Maeda should be starting through the middle with somebody in the chat. I don't know if they're in tonight, had said obviously they thought Kenny would start. I think it was the boy Kennedy. Had said that he thought Johnny Kenny would start, and I said, no, Dyson's going to start. And obviously I kind of said, Dyson, now that the weight's lifted, it's like somebody obviously struggling with mental health, and then they tell somebody and you feel that wee bit lighter and you feel a bit better, obviously talking about it. Obviously Dyson's had all this in the back of his head. He's had this sitting there like the fans are going to hate me because I want to leave and things like that. Do you know what I mean? It's a struggle for players when it comes to stuff like that. And at the end of the day, now that it's out in the open, I think we're going to see a rejuvenated Dyson Maeda, and I think he did see that. He's seen that bit of bite, that bit of grit, running forward, wanting to get in behind the defenders. And listen, Taneki and Sarachi down that left were absolutely fantastic. I thought both of them. You said as well, Steve, before we come on, we spoke about Sarachi and this cutting inside the way Greg Taylor did. I know Liam's in the chat there, so Liam's favourite player, we mentioned, Greg Taylor. Sarachi's cutting inside and he's doing that wee bit. He's covering in the midfield, and he's not always predictable. He's not just always going to take it by the man or try and pass it around the man and do that little bit. But
see with that, Paddy, can I jump in on him? Because obviously we're going through the players. We'll get back to Balquisha and the wingers and the forward players. I really want to dig into midfield as well, to be honest with you. But Sarachi's seen some really mixed reviews, some right mixed takes on him. I think when I look at him, and maybe a bit of PTSD for some folk here, I like the attacking qualities. I think what he has, to me, it looked like a bit of a hybrid between the best qualities of Taylor and the best qualities of, I know there were few, of what's his face, Bernabe. In terms of going forward, I thought he looked like Bernabe. He looked quite nimble, he looked quite agile, he looked quite comfortable with the ball at his feet. Now, we often say that, guys from South America and that are centre halves and fullbacks that are actually just, pegged back, not good enough midfielders and wingers. But I thought that he had a nice balance to his game. I actually think he got 58 minutes and we'll go on to him, but I think that he looked far better than the half hour that you got out of Kieran Tierney. I would definitely say that. He puts in a pinpoint cross, great cross into the ball, in the box for Dyson Maeda to head home. But as you say, he looked very similar on the defensive side of qualities. And I know folk will say, well, Taylor wasn't great. Yeah, he could look ropey at times, but he played that kind of inverted role. He was filling up gaps, overloading the midfield. And generally speaking, I don't think he got caught out too much. Do I think that when he plays against higher grade opposition, maybe some of these European games, could it maybe be found out at times, as Taylor was? Well, potentially. But I certainly liked what I saw. He gave it a wee bit more, I think, a more dynamic edge than Tierney, dare I say it.
Yeah, listen, he was brilliant. He's one of these players that I like. He's got a bit about him, a bit of ballsiness, and we said that when he first came in. When you looked at the previous teams that he'd been at, he was at River Plate and he was at Boca and things like that. Also Fenerbahce at one point, and you're like, yeah, this guy's been about. He's played for some big teams. He's played in some big atmospheres. Football is life, saying there that he reminds me a wee bit of Juranovic, but I think you nailed it in the head the first time you said. He reminded you of Stefan Mahi. He's got that bit of madness about him, and you can see that. You can see that he's still got that wee bit in him, and I love that comparison. Obviously, Mahi was a bit wilder than what I think Sarachi is going to be for us, but it was good to see. It's a position that we've struggled, and it's nice to see somebody in there, somebody that's comfortable with the ball at his feet. Somebody that looks as if he's not going to always pass the ball backwards as well, because I think Big Scalesy was guilty of that a few times, putting the ball back. But Sarachi wants to drive, he wants to put the ball into the midfield and push forward, which was nice to see for a change.
Yeah, no, I definitely like the looks of that. But obviously, he's going down that left hand side, and that will get us on to what we briefly touched on, which is Balakwisha. If you didn't have that attacking, sort of purpose that Sarashi was trying to bring to the team, we weren't going to get it, to be
Aye.
honest, for Balakwisha. And as much as, I'm a big Kieran Tierney fan, I also think that you saw whenever Sarashi came off, the attack threat also wasn't there when Kieran Tierney came on, and you look at the way it pans out for it. Balakwisha survives just under an hour in that game before he's pulled off, roughly at the same time as Sarashi goes off as well. But he's already got an assist to his name there, and he's done he's ran his race. He's done well. He's putting enough. We switch out Balakwisha for Forrest, and things slightly pick up a wee bit, but I don't think it's more to do with Forrest than it is to do with Kieran Tierney. But just looking at Balakwisha, as I said, I brought him up there. I want the general flavour. What's people's thoughts on it? I know it's 2 games. I know it's about 120 odd minutes that he's played, so there's a lot of football. But what I would say is he's a guy that needs to get his sort of self together and needs to do it quick. And I just want to chuck this at you, Paddy, because I know people pointing this out to me, and I'm aware of the fact he's more comfortable on the right than he is on the left, right? I know that. I know that. But it's not going to happen because it looks as if Janecki's going to take that. And certainly if he continues to play, we'll get onto him the way that he has been. It's not going to happen for Balkush. He's going to have to make the best of he's got. Now, in the same way that you'll say you can turn up at any pitch, it shouldn't matter, you're a professional footballer, you should be able to kick on and make it happen, right? Now, call me grumpy old man here, right? And again, I'm not saying I'm a professional footballer. However, see when I played football, see sometimes you think your preferred position, right? But when you moved into another position, unless you were getting asked to do something that you had never done in your life, i.e., you're a striker and you get asked to go in the sticks, right? I expect you to know what you're doing. Are you trying to tell me that just because you favour being on your right hand side, that you can't switch over to the left hand side and still do the basics like take on a man, cut inside, get past, link up the play, and go into tackles? I just think that we always try to find reasons or excuses as to why players haven't been able to show us something. And I say I'm just basing it on these individual in isolation. We've got a game at Partick. I'm just throwing it out for comedy value. What happens if he does the exact same against Partick Thistle? Now, Partick Thistle was a game that he should be going there and he should have zero fear against. The opposition level is lower. He should be going there, doing what Taneki doing, running riot and going for it. What happens if he does that again? Gets another 60, 65, 70 minutes, and it's the same thing we're talking about. What's the excuse then? The black, red, and yellow tops threw him off. I mean, come on, Paddy, talk to me.
I know. Listen, we should expect our wingers to be able to move from side to side and swap. We've seen that before. You just want adaptation. If it's a position that he's going to want to be fighting for, listen, Taneki's made that his own. I thought he was absolutely brilliant. Like you said, that was his debut. He's the one that stood out. I thought he was absolutely brilliant. We just need more. We need him to find his feet, and we need him to find his feet fast. Yes, it's hard moving into another club and all of this kind of stuff, but at the end of the day, he's a professional footballer, Steve, and he's coming in to a club the size of Celtic, and he needs to pull his socks up and go on with it. So,
I mean, and that's the thing, Jason, obviously, and I get that. Is it knee jerk? I wouldn't say it's knee jerk, and this is the thing. Like we say this all the time. See, we're on these sort of platforms, whether it's ourselves or any other podcast, right? You're damned if you do, damned if you don't. We always say we comment on what we see in isolation with our eyes. Now, as I said at the top before we started to talk about him, I am not by any stretch of imagination saying, "Guy's a dud, get him in the bin. It's never going to work." Because we did that. We did that with Kuhn, and look what happened there. Yes, he then went the opposite way and he went out the door. But anybody can kick on. But all I am saying is based on what we've seen, there's too many excuses to hide behind. He's came in off the back of a decent start to a season at Antwerp, and I don't imagine that he's been asked to do anything really that much different for what he would have been at Antwerp. And is it maybe stage fright? All I'm saying is he does need to get his act together quickly. I think he plays against Partick by default just because he needs the minutes and we get him in there. However, if it was a game, for example, against Hearts or other ones, Red Star or Hibs that we've got coming up, would have started him based off the 2 performances? No, I wouldn't have. That's just where I'm at with it.
Yeah, but then you look at it, who do we start? Who is the other option? Is it James Forrest? Is it Yang?
Yeah.
It's certainly not going to be Jota. Obviously, Jota's still out. I'd be excited to see what happens, obviously, when Jota comes back. I think him and Taneki are very similar. Similar traits, similar style players. They want to cut inside. They want to have a shot. They're quite silky. They're quite ambitious with the ball. Quite exciting. So it'll be good to see that when it comes back. But I just think it's going to take a wee bit of time. Somebody else put in the comments there, obviously, the team are just gelling together. And listen, I totally agree with you. I absolutely agree with that. And we're quick on here to judge. Obviously, as Celtic fans, we want to win every single game and we want to win it comfortably. We want to win it 4-0, 5-0, 6-0. And that's just us. It's what we do. We thrive for perfection. And I know we're never going to get it. We aren't. The occasional game comes in and you absolutely smash teams to oblivion and stuff like that. But going in, listen, we're never going to do that in every single game. And there is always going to be somebody that we're on here going, oh, he was garbage today, he was this, he was that. And it just so happens that man was Balakwisha for probably the second week running. So he's getting through.
I mean, we're not going to go on it, but I can bring up your comments. Big Dom's going straight in with the too far. He's saying he's a dud. I hope he proves he's all wrong. I hope he proves.
Speaking of two fitters, then Steve, will we got on to Taneki's challenge, and you can tell us what you feel about that.
Let's get on to Taneki. Let's up the positive vibes. And I'll be honest, again, here's a guy, Paddy. Now, we done the wee sort of scouting report, if you want to call it that. Armchair scouting, right? And again, it just goes to show you that sometimes when you look at the facts and figures in front of you, it doesn't paint the whole picture. Now, again, I'll bring it up because we like doing that kind of thing. I'll remind you of what we saw when we looked at Taneki, and I thought to myself, here we go. Here's a guy that we've been running about chasing. He's came out of the blue, and we've ended up going for him. We've paid what we need to pay for him. But I wasn't bowled over, Paddy. I didn't look at the stats and think, oh my God, this guy is going to be an absolute baller. He's going to suddenly be the conversion that we need. He's going to turn it. There we go. 139 games. 17 goals, 11 assists. I mean, you look at what we got out of him for that last season, the 2024 period. It wasn't exactly massive, was it? I mean, you're talking what, 5-6 goals there and as many assists. Not amazing reading, but by God, did he take his chance when he came in there? And it is, again, like we're saying with Balakwisha in the negative stance, with Taneki, it's very, very early. But if that boy keeps up that standard, then it looks like we could have a right good player in our hands, doesn't it?
Yeah, he's one of the ones. He's come in. It's 1 minute coming in the transfer window. Steve was like, who? A Tunisian, brilliant. Yeah, aye. Who's this guy going to be?
And listen, I'll throw that in there as well. I went as well. Tunisian international, one cap or something. I'm like, whoa, since 2021. So all these things can be deceptive.
I kind of laughed as well. I watched his first interview for Celtic and he's like, yeah, I'm quite an exciting player. I like to drive forward. I like to pass the ball forward. I like to do this. I like to do that. And I kind of put it in the chat and says he's not going to work at Celtic. He passes the ball forward. And got quite a bit of crack there through that. But I think he's pretty much just come in and he's done exactly what it says in the tin. He's just, this is the way I want to play. And that's the way that he's playing. He seemed to enjoy it. Obviously, there was his wee tackle that we kind of disagree on, Steve-O.
See me look at it, right? There's the headline stats from. He created 4 chances in the game, and a game that was starved of chances. He had roughly a 56% dribble percentage. He attempted to get past players 9 times and done it 5, right? Such was he kept going to well, committing his man doing it. 14 touches in the opposition box, was never actually dispossessed. He failed attempts at dribbling, but didn't the ball taken off him, just lost the ball with his own touch. And he had a 55%, 6 out of 11 in his tackles, his duels. I think that's a right good start to his Celtic career. He was expected to score 1 goal if you want to work in that XG stuff, right? He was just under the 1 goal sort of expectancies. And I think that was maybe the only thing that was missing from his game. He picks up a yellow card quite early on, which I think, to be honest with you, I was a wee bit worried about because it was quite early on, 40 minutes, and he still survives 88. Obviously, learned from it. And as he says, he gets a yellow card. I says to you, and you disagreed. I says, I think he's he's lucky, not because I think it's a red card, right? Not because I'm saying it was a hard tackle, but both feet are off the ground. He kind of comes in. If he catches the guy properly, I could have seen him getting sent off and it being one that you appeal and you win. That's what I mean. I'm not saying that I think it merited the red card, but I think that based on what we've learned from some of the referee decisions in Scotland, I thought that it could have been, and then we would have been in danger.
Yeah, on that, I mean, I know you're saying both feet were off the ground and stuff like that, and it was exposed, but he's way in front of the player. He's for me, he's took the ball. He's not really caused much harm to the Kelly player. So I think if that goes to VAR, there's no way they're giving a red for that. So obviously quite happy, like you say, Steve, with his performance. 420 says he could become my new favourite. Listen, for him to become my new favourite, Rio Hatate will have to leave. So
Oh,
it's not happening at the minute.
Or Rio Tai needs to start improving it as a season. And
Listen, I still stand by Rio. Rio's my man. He didn't have an absolute Snyder. He done well. He done okay.
And you know,
You're talking about the chance, obviously, Taneki had as well. Steve was saying that he should have scored. There was a point when Callum McGregor chips the ball over the top and Taneki's through. And he just seemed to, I think he tried to be too classy with it, just to kind of dink it over the keeper, but he's just kind of punted it over the bar.
It was the only thing that was missing for his game, and his focus stayed out. And you know, I said that there, and we went back on him. You know, Punch is saying I had low expectations. Went as far to say it'd be a dud. I didn't go as far as to crucify a guy and say he was a dud. I said that based on the information that was presented to us, I didn't see why we had been pursuing him so heavily. And I think that's fair to say when we bring up his stats. You know, again, we always do say that we throw stats out to you just to give a picture where it is, but I just said that in 139 games to score 17 goals and 11 assists as a winger, when, let's be honest, playing in a bang average league, I didn't think it was fantastic. That's, you know, and I'll still stand by that. As I said, very, very surprising. Greatly surprised, and hopefully he kicks on. And again, I don't know enough about the side he's came from. Maybe he's playing in a low quality side, and as a result of that, he's not, you know, he's playing against better opposition. You're getting dispossessed more often. Your guys aren't creating, you know, they're not getting on the end of the chances. There's many variables. I'm just talking about from a basic numbers game. I didn't think it looked like one that it made much sense to us. When you consider how much goals we had removed from the side, it didn't look like for like. So that was what my assessment was there. But I certainly think that he looks like a right good player. And as I said, hopefully he keeps on. You know, people said, Paddy, that when we get Jota back, it then presents an issue of Jota getting in the team. Well, that's again subjective, because depending on how Balikwisha does or doesn't kick on, then, you know, might it be that both them play. But it's exciting nonetheless to actually have a guy that looks as if at an early stage, one game, that there's Jota type vibes around him.
Yeah, listen, that's the only player you could really link him to. I thought he was brilliant playing like Jota. I think when Jota comes back, I think Balikwisha moves out of the squad. It's as simple as that. He's one, like we said, we're not throwing him under the bus, guys. We're not hammering the boy here. We hope he comes good. We hope he's taking a wee bit of time to settle. When you think about what we lost on that side, like Steve will say, we've lost Nicholas Kuhn. The amount of goals and assists that we lost, we want to bring somebody in with a like for like here. We want to bring in a replacement for that. And I don't think at the minute Balikwisha looks like that guy. And we've said it before, obviously we got rid of Matt O'Reilly, brought in Arne Engels and things like that. And that's not been the same either. So you're getting these positions, and yeah, it's frustrating, but they're not like for like players. Listen, Balikwisha's not going to come in and light up the team sheet every single week.
Let's move away from the wingers, right? Let's move away from the wingers. I want to concentrate. There's a lot of comments coming in here. I want to concentrate on this central three.
Yes.
Deacon, Cal McGregor and Rio. I must admit that, see, for me, it was another flat, really underwhelming performance from every single one of them. Now, I see a lot of people are saying stuff, you know, James is saying, drop Cal, give him a rest. Other people are going straight down the Hatate wants to go, he's checked out kind of thing. It's a right tough one, because again, when I spoke about the language that Cal McGregor was using, that determination, I was expecting just something different for him. First game back to, put his actions where his words are, show. It's brilliant sitting there and doing all that. I just thought that all three of them, a man, were really, really poor. Now, it's football's life saying, and I've seen a few folk there, people saying Nygren, he was pretty poor, he was moaning at a lot of people, blaming a lot of folk as well. Now, I actually had a wee sort of deep dive at it here, and I agree. When Nygren first came in pre-season, I thought, looks a fantastic player. I think it's exactly what we need. I said he had to be part of Central 3. He ended up and down. He's sort of flipped and flopped. He's not found a consistency. And much like we'll say with Balakwisha, Tuneki, Iheanacho, all these guys that have just come in, you might take a certain amount of games from to get up to speed, right? So I'll say that. But Nygren, I think, has sort of been less purposeful, less impactful than what we'd seen. And I'm not saying he looks bad, but he looks a bit average. He's not really affecting games. But again, when I've done my deep dive and done my homework, if you want to listen to stats will actually show that compared to all our other midfielders, he's got higher XG rating and he has more influence in the game in terms of touches in the opposition box, forward passes, and trying to be attack minded, even though it's not coming off. But Paddy, it then begs the question, we look at the bench, Engels and Bernardo don't get on. Now, Engels, again, as something people are saying in the comments there, a guy that needs to up his game, needs to get better. We've had them around the houses with Engels. Is it time for Bernardo here, mate? Because I just don't understand why it's happening and why he's not getting game time. And to be honest with you, he would have been a hell of a lot better, or it couldn't be any worse than the three that played that game, mate.
Yeah, listen, Callum McGregor's been pretty poor the last few games as well. I was just going to check there, was Bernardo actually on the bench, Steve-O? I thought he was just sitting in the stand. I wasn't sure if he was actually on in the team lineup there. No, he was. He was on the squad. Yeah, listen, I don't know what the young laddie has to do to actually to get into the team because, listen, Rio Hatate was poor as well. He has been poor. Callum was poor. Like you say, Benji Nygren, going forward, he looks all right. He's always in the right position. He always presses into the box, and I like that about your midfielders linking up with the forwards and linking up with the wingers and pushing forward into the box and driving for a goal because it's something that you don't really get with Callum McGregor anymore. And Rio Hatate is quite happy to come and just kind of sit on the edge of the box and hope for any scraps coming for the defender so he can well it into the corner. I think guys like Engels and stuff like that, Engels has had a chance, he messed it up. I think he will come good, but whether that's with us or with somebody else, I don't know. I would like to see Engels get some more time because at the minute, what we're having there isn't really doing the job. They're not really, so they're not breaking up play as much as what they normally would. And this horseshoe of death, or whatever you want to call it, just it's horrible. You know, this back passing stuff all the time, and there didn't seem to be a forward pass for Cal McGregor other than one he chipped through for Tuneki. But the rest of it was always backwards.
And when you see him doing that, you see that one moment of magic that he's got. He's got that range of passing. He's got that instinctive, insightful ball through. But we're just not seeing it enough for him lately. And at times I've looked towards guys like Rio and Nygren to get their foot in the ball, so that you kind of sort of, when you're not getting if Cal McGregor getting something out of them. But I think, I'll be honest with you, Paddy, I don't want to go down the negative route. Rio Hattate's been as crap as he ever has been. He's lost his lows in that game at the weekend.
Yeah. So see, getting into this Partick Thistle game, right? Straight away, if I'm Brendan or the manager of Celtic here, I'm looking at that and I'm going to put in there Arnie Engels and Callum McGregor. Yeah. So what's this going forward? So yeah, that's it. That's it exactly. McCown and Bernardo. Yeah, 100%, mate. That is exactly what I would do. And have Engels sitting in the Callum McGregor role. Give the boys a chance. Let them see. I wouldn't have CCV and Scales in there. I would give Big Dane Murray a chance. Get the Great Dane in there. We need him in for a shot. Iheanacho, listen, done well and all. But midfield, Steve, for me, it needs a wee bit of change in it. You see players coming on and doing a wee bit of different, a wee bit of drive, a wee bit of passion. There should be more people fighting for that position. Because the midfield, one of the positions that we actually looked at and went, you know what, that's probably the only place we don't need to strengthen. We're quite strong in there. We've got Callum McGregor, the captain, the leader, knows what he's doing, will help the team drive forward. Rio Hatate, on his day, unplayable. Do you know what I mean? Benji Nygren's coming in. This guy's Swedish international, absolutely brilliant. He'll drive forward, he'll get goals, can take a free kick. We've not really seen the kind of link-up play yet. And like we're saying, we're still gelling, we're still getting there. We understand that, but I want it quick.
Paddy, I see the problem. See, when I look at our midfield right now, this is completely like doesn't make sense what I'm about to say. Now, that way you say you become one-dimensional or you become so narrow, right? I just feel that the realistic situation, I see our midfield, right? The central three in the midfield, you could kind of just remove them, right? Because nothing really happens there. Nothing's been happening in the midfield for a good couple of games, right? Essentially, the ball goes for one of the keeper to the defenders, maybe goes to one of the midfielders, who then pass it back to the defender, who will then pass it to a winger, rinse and repeat. Very occasionally, one of those midfielders will pass it out to the winger, right? We're just so dependent on something that the manager claimed that he didn't have, which was width and wingers. We're constantly forking out to the left, forking out to the right. Now, fortunately for us, with Tarek, who wanted the ball and he kept comfort, he kept looking, he was trying to make things happen, right? But where's the incisive passes? Where's the carrying of the ball? Where's the moving forward for any of those midfielders at this moment in time? It isn't. It's literally a stopgap. It slows us down, right? Now, as Plunge says, as you said, I think that we need that freshness. Bring in Engels, bring in McCown, bring in Bernardo against Partick Thistle. No disrespect. It's Partick Thistle, come on.
Yeah.
Anytime that we have done kind of like wholesale changes like this, the midfield guys just seem to play with a wee bit more freedom, a wee bit more pace, and they're happy to get the ball, and they're happy to move the ball forward, and they're happy to go, and carry the ball and try to influence the game. Our midfield, the way I describe it, is safe. It's incredibly safe. And even when it comes to the dirty work of ball winning and snapping into tackles, I'm not saying be aggressive, but look at the game against Rangers, for example, the ball winning, the getting down and dirty, even that's not happening, Paddy.
Yeah,
And
I
that's
know.
going to have to change when you've got a game against Hibs coming up and a game against Red Star.
I know. They need to get the finger out. They need to get a bit of passion in there. And listen, change them out. Let them see that if you put Engels, McCowan, and Bernardo in there, then and they have a blinder against Partick Thistle, then put them in against Hibs and possibly let them fight for the spot in the European team as well. It's one of the ones, isn't it? It's the competition will make the other players a wee bit better, and we need that. We need that in there. We need these players to actually get the finger out and do a bit. A lot of people giving obviously Rio a bit of stick. Again, he's in there. He's consistent. He's not the best he's ever been at Celtic, but he's one of the most consistent.
Yeah, I think that that people are commenting, some saying Benigrin, he's not great at the backtracking, he's not tackling, and you'd probably argue that isn't really going to be part of his game. I think does that excuse him from not getting involved? But I don't think it does. But I can give allowances for the fact that he's maybe not going to be doing loads of backtracking, loads of tackling, and ball winning. That's probably looking more towards Hatate and Cal McGregor to do that kind of thing. But at the same time, when you think of guys like Bernardo, and Jay's saying this here, and we spoke about him, what is the mystery with Bernardo? See if he doesn't get a start, Paddy, or at least play 60, 70 odd minutes, if not the whole game against Partick, then is he done? Is it over for him?
Looks like it. He's one of the ones. I mean, you see him sitting in the stand and stuff as well. And I can't remember what game it was. I'd seen the picture of him sitting obviously beside Jota. And you're just like, what does this young laddie have to do? I like him. I think he's a decent enough player. There's definitely something about him. He's got a bit of grit. He's quite good on the ball, likes to drive forward, not scared to have a dig for outside the box. So, listen, he's an option. He's one in there. At this minute, I'd probably play him over Hatate because he's not been good enough as well. So, he needs to start. He needs to get in there. He needs to get minutes under his belt. And I don't know what he's done.
Paddy, do you think when we look then, right, though, this is maybe the problem. Do you think that Callum McGregor, Bernardo, and let's just say maybe a McCown or Rio, are they too samey? Are they maybe too samey? Like, I think that I think that Rio Hatate is, I hate use all the cliches of the day. He's a maverick, he's got magic in his boots, moment of madness to a moment of brilliance and all that kind of stuff, right? But Cal McGregor, quite safe. Bernardo, quite safe. To an extent, Negrin looks quite safe. Certainly in recent games, he's shown that he's got good attacking sort of mindset, but he's became very safe lately. So are these guys really that interchangeable where if you throw them together, that it's not really going to work? Like folk are saying, is it a choice between Negrin or Rio Hatate? Can they not play together? Well, it didn't look like they were particularly complementing each other. So it's probably is one or the other, isn't it?
We said this before when you spoke about Callum McGregor and Manny Engels. It was like they cancelled each other out because Engels likes to do the dirty stuff that Callum was doing as well. Obviously, Callum likes to kind of sit a wee bit deeper, and I think Engels is probably more suited to that role because you see him going forward. He's got a brilliant eye for a pass, amazing delivery, but it just seems to not really have that link-up play with the boys on the wing. So I think that Callum McGregor and Engels kind of cancelled each other out. Not too sure at the minute about Negrin and Hatate. Hatate always wants to win the ball, and he's always, somebody said before, he's always facing his own goal. He's always wanting the ball into his feet there so that he can do the wee pivot and turn away and then kind of look up and go forward. And that's one of the things I like about him. He's not one of these guys that's always going to pass the ball back away. If you pass the ball to Callum McGregor when he's facing his goal, it's going back to his goal. It's as simple as that. He's not going to try and turn away for a player or put it up the park or something like that. But Rio always tries to get the ball away. He always tries to turn and go forward a wee bit. And that's one of the things that I like.
I think the only problem at the moment is with Rio. It's not necessarily a pass back, but it's a 3-year pass to the side back to one of the wingers or back into
or a chip pass and he loses it.
McGregor, and
it's the same for all of them.
But yeah, I mean, the only guy that we've really not spoke about, and we might as well because I think it's a great goal, is Dice Maeda. Now, I asked the question, what are we going to get out of him? What version of him are we going to get from him? And I thought that in terms of leading the line, I'm still unsure of whether that's going to be exactly what he's going to get. I know that that's probably what he wants. I like the celebration. It showed a bit of passion. It showed, at least on face value, a bit of commitment. There was a lot of sort of anger and shouting and badge pounding, if you like that kind of thing. I think it's a great instinctive goal. You see the run, he comes across the shoulder of the defender, heads it across. Textbook, great striker's goal, and probably not something that you would really associate with Dyson Maeda, to be honest, to be that sort of instinctive sort of header. Great ball in for Sriracha. I thought up until that point, he was just all right. I didn't necessarily go, he must start through the middle. And again, coming back to the question of can Iheanacho be the man, a guy who's getting up to speed, let's not rewrite history. I thought he looked right bang average up until he takes the penalty. But if Iheanacho can find some level of match fitness, match sharpness, and goal scoring form, then you've got to say that as a natural all-round striker, he probably gets through the middle, which then again maybe gives us a bit of help out in that left wing. If we're talking about Balquisha, if he's still finding his feet and all that kind of stuff. Where were you at with Maeda?
I thought he did a decent enough performance. There's a lot of people saying he didn't really do much, but he was making the runs off the ball. He was coming short. He was getting involved in the play. A header's not really what you normally associate with a diving goal, but he got in the position. He was driving. He was running in. He was putting their keeper under a lot of pressure. Not a lot from him in the first half, but as soon as Sriracha puts that ball in, he's there, isn't he? He's there like a rocket and cracking finish. Absolutely brilliant finish.
Really, really good. And what did you think of the celebration? I think that it's probably fair to say that similarly to what happened with Kyogo, when we found out about he'd said as far back as February wanted to leave, we kind of joined up the dots with some of the key misses and things like that, you will naturally get a wee bit of you'll lose a wee bit of stock among some of the fan base.
Yeah.
The managers obviously praised his attitude and says, expects to get the best out of him in his commitment because such is his character. Was the pounding of the badge and the shouting, was it genuine passion or was it something that needed to be done?
No, I think it was. I think that's what it's been, and I said it on here before. I think he's had a lot on his plate. He's told the team that he wanted to leave, but it wasn't really out in the public. Dyson never came out to the fan base and said, "Listen, I want to leave." Obviously, because if he does that, the fans are like, "Oh, he wants to leave. That's it. He's shite." Blah blah. Do you know what I mean? As all other Celtic players do. Yes, we're aware that players are going to want to leave Celtic. People saying about Dyson Maeda want to leave. Rio Haddadi wants to leave, and who else? I mean, there must be others in there that want a change,
Yeah.
want to leave. But soon as that's out in the open, soon as it's been spoke about, and he realises that the Celtic fans are still there for him, we still want him to play in that squad. We still want him to be a massive part of that team. The weight's been lifted, and I thought you seen that in his performance, and obviously the badge punching and stuff as well. It's that wee bit just to say, kind of, do you know what? Thank you. We spoke about it before, Steve. Remember the game against Livy when he came in and he scored and he run and he jumped right up onto the barrier, and all the Celtic fans were pulling at him and pulling him in. That was the start for Dyson. That was the one where he actually realised, wait a minute, I'm a cult hero here. I am the replacement for Kyogo. And that was the change for me. So I'm hoping now that this is the change this year. I hope that we've now seen that wee shite part of Dyson, and now we've got the Dyson of old, and we can drive forward, we can push forward and start getting those kind of performances out of him, those kind of goals out of him.
Yeah. Well, before we sort of wrap up the action, obviously the goal that we concede, I think
Yes.
it's a fairly decent enough header. I've seen a wee bit of criticisms around about some of the defensive guys there. I think it goes over the top of Tierney, but also you hear people are not too happy with Kasper Schmeichel. I ain't going to lie, I was a bit worried after the goal goes in. And again, it's as simple as a cross into the box, and it just seems to be something that continually undoes us. But I mean, have you any real criticisms around the goal? I mean, I thought that, to be honest with you, that after they scored, that was backs to the wall. I thought they looked the most likely to go and snatch the points, to be honest with you, Paddy. I thought it was going to be one of the days.
That's the way they play against us. It's the way pretty much everybody plays against us. They'll sit back, they'll hope for a free kick, they'll hope for a dead ball situation where they can just lump the ball in and hope that our shite defence that doesn't practice set pieces at all will make a mistake, because 9 times out of 10 we do. You think about that, we can't practice this because we see it so many times. How many times do we concede for set pieces? It's horrible. It's so predictable all the time. As soon as any set piece is up against us, I'm shiting it. I mean, you're sitting there going, right, what's going on here? And like you say, Steve, when they scored, it shocked Celtic. It really did. And I think that's why, obviously, like I say, Joe had 2-1 on. He was sitting there going, I'm just going to cash this out. I think I'm going to run with my money. It was just one of the things that you didn't really know where the goal was going to come from us. And obviously, we got lucky in the end and got the penalty. But yeah.
Just see on that, you say we get lucky. I just want to talk then. So there's 2 incidents where I think VAR come in. The first one, and I want your honest opinion on it, because I know the 2 players are holding each other. I think Carter Vickers gets away with one, because I think, and I'm very surprised it didn't even go to review. Is it clear and obvious? I don't really know. I can't recall the referee's position at the time, but Carter Vickers has a handful of shirt and arms round and wrestling with the guy and kind of puts him on the deck. I honestly think, as much as folk maybe don't want to hear it, I honestly think they should probably have a penalty, and we're probably in a bit of danger there. What was your thoughts on that? Were you surprised it didn't get reviewed, and that not much was made out about it?
Yes and no. You see this stuff all the time, this grappling, this kind of fighting for positions and stuff like that. And I think if you're going to get a penalty for that, then you're going to get a penalty pretty much every corner kick or every free kick that comes into your box, because you could highlight any 2 kind of players. There was one as well with Kieran Tierney's on with a corner, and Kieran's right up at the keeper's face, and the keeper kind of just nudges him out of the way as well. And other times, I mean, there's wee things like this, and you see it all the time. So for me, yes and no. You could pull it back. You could say that we were lucky. You could do whatever else. But for me, if you're going to give penalties for stuff like that, then you're going to be giving them all the time.
Yeah, I mean, what do you think? Also, mixed reactions in here.
Yeah.
What do you think of the actual penalty that Celtic get deep in? Firstly, I want to say it's a great bit of work with Donovan, by the way. Again, talking about committing your man and getting the byline, he fashions that goal. or penalty, sorry. But the question is, Paddy, is it a penalty, right? We've heard this about, we heard Kettlewell getting sort of quoted the reference or the explanation at the end of it when he sort of, came into it, and then he says, well, that's not what we were told in the presentation. Whether that's true or not, you and I won't know that. Only managers would know that. I'll be honest with you. See if that gets given against Celtic, I am going off my nut. And I genuinely, again, I'm never lie just because we're a Celtic podcast. I'll never throw red meat and just agree with it. I don't think it's a penalty. I think it's embarrassing. I understand that the ball comes across and the shot is committed. And they're arguing that the guy turns side on, his hands are in an unnatural position, i.e., he's trying to save the ball, right? I think the two players are coming together and they're kind of getting it, they're almost going to go into each other. And I think his hands are out there because it's that way where he's falling into the guy and he's maybe expecting that he's going to push his colleague over, or whatever term you want to call him. I think they're coming together, and for me, I think his position, his hands are kind of natural because he's kind of almost going forward and they're out in front of him. It comes up half, somebody deflects and it hits into him for point blank range. I honestly don't think it's a penalty, Paddy. I mean, listen, I'm going to take it, and I enjoyed and I loved the meltdown and I love everything I've been reading about the conspiracy theories and all that kind of stuff from the boy side of town and everybody else. Where are you at with it being 100% honest, Paddy?
Really? Aye. If you look at the rule book stipulates that if it deflects off a player of your own team and hits your hands, which are in an unnatural position from a distance less than, a foot, then it's deemed as no penalty. Now, it wasn't even a foot, like Kettlewell said. However, I think the shot is on target. I think it's going in. So then that changes. Now, if you listen to Chris Boyd says that shot's going wide, but he's always going to say that.
It's no good wide. I mean,
I think it's going into the back of the net.
Goalkeeper? Is it going straight? See, I don't know. I think the way he kind of sweeps it, I think there is a chance that it could just flash by the post, right? But either way, it's going in the direction of at least the goalkeeper. I think where the goalkeeper is, he at least commits to coming out to it. I think that's, he gets hands on it. But sorry, on you go, mate.
And I think then that it's been overturned. It's been given as a penalty because it's on target, because it looks like it's going to be a goal. I think that's where they've seen it, because his hands are out from his body. Then it's seen that his hands are in an unnatural position, so that overrules the foot rule. If it's given against you, like you say, Steve, you're spewing, you're gutted. And listen, you've seen that Kettlewell was gutted. He'll still be there, waiting for his point. He'll still be sitting there trying to get his point across and whatever. But it was soft. I'll take it, but it probably shouldn't have been a penalty.
I mean, and again, I know it's not Celtic, but just for the benefit of, I'm really looking forward to the VAR review when it comes out, because let's have a look, and you can understand, and this makes it all bit sweeter that we got away with it. When you look at some of the decisions in the other games, right? At Ibrox, for example, and I think this makes it so much more funnier. Shankland touches the ball and bangs it in the net, and seeing you see it, he turns around and he goes, actually, you can read his lips, he goes like that to the guy, it's a handball, You see that?
No.
Brilliant, right? You see him celebrating the goal, right? You see him celebrating the goal, and he turns around and he looks, and he actually goes like that, his hand, it's a handball. You can tell he says it's hard. He says it twice, and he still get it, right? It's brilliant, right? And then obviously they get a goalie gets all the protection in the world to get their goal chopped off, but you can understand why they're getting after that, because it was honking all round, mate. Again, wasn't it, for the refereeing standard?
It always is. There seems to be so many of these decisions. Like we said before, VAR was coming in here and it was going to revolutionise Scottish football. It was going to get rid of these very, very poor decisions. Now it just seems there's more people to make the poor decision, and they show you it in slow motion so that you know it's a poor decision. And that's the kind of be all and end all of it. And then they'll come out at the end of the month and go, yeah, we got that one wrong. We're going to do a bit of training. I no bother, pal. Do you know what I mean? That makes me feel better. What about my 3 points?
Absolutely. Well, before we move on to the discussion around about Partick Thistle and the Cup at the weekend, let's have a wee bit of light-hearted fun, and we'll bring back what we're calling, as always, Scottish football tin pottery. And there was two bits of tin pottery. The first is obviously this one here. From our own club, nonetheless, that Kelechi
Iheanacho.
Iheanacho's name can't even be spelled right.
To
But
be
we
fair,
will
it's a
take
tough name to spell, eh?
we will, come on. The must have an A in Nacho. Come on, that's not even possible. But we didn't really. Kelechi comes on and he takes the penalty. It's good. Apparently, asked the captain, "Can I take it?" Because I think Nygren's going to take it. It's a great penalty, Paddy, and sometimes it can just be something as simple as a spot kick to really give you the confidence. Because I didn't think he really was getting much into the game up to that point, but he'll take the goal anyway it comes. We'll take the win anyway it comes, and a great penalty. It's just a shame that his debut opening goal jersey's been ruined by the club.
I know, but do you know what? It'll be worth an absolute fortune in years to come because it's spelt wrong. That's going to be one of the collector's items, Steve. So we'll try and get our hands on that. We need to use some of our contacts to see if we can get it. That'll be worth a few quid if we can get him to sign that. Listen, the confidence, he's come in his debut. He's took the ball off the captain, put it in the spot and buried it. Brilliant. And he enjoyed it as well. You tell that straight to the fans and celebrating. Do you know what? All of this... rumours going about that he was carrying a massive bit of timber and he was a big lump and stuff like that. Do you know what? He looked all right. He looked quite fit for me. He was running about. He got himself about and listen, he can put the ball in the back of the net for 12 yards, so we'll take it.
I'll take it, exactly. And as they're saying, I think maybe the board were scrimping on letters. They want to give that extra 80p or whatever it is for a letter to go back
probably.
here. But there's another one as well because there's more tin pottery in Scottish football. I'm there for it. What about this, boys? Oh, wild water swimming in the bonny banks of Loch Lomond. Russell Martin, this is Pedro in the bush stuff, isn't it? This is Pedro's been bushwhacked. This is dogs and caravans, Paddy. I mean, we all dined out in this. I get sent that and I thought, no way, man, that's not even real, is it, right? But it is. Oh my God. Is this going down? Are we seeing the quickest unwinding of a manager at Rangers ever? I mean, this is ahead of schedule, is it not? This is ahead of Pedro. This is ahead of Clement. This is ahead of Murty doing the handstand, is it not?
It's definitely up there, mate. They're away climbing hills and swimming in Loch Lomond. Listen, my cousin's got a boat up there. See if I'd have known, that'd have been carnage, I'll tell you.
You have just soaked them bang these people.
Aye. Listen, it's madness. Like you said, tin pottery. It's the gift that keeps on giving. This is just madness. It's like you said, Steve. It's shouting at fans. It's out there giving big licks. And did Russell Martin go in or did he just stay outside with his cool hair and that?
I don't know, but it's deaf. I mean, look at it. And then he sends him up. Is it Conic Hill or something?
Conic Hill, aye.
He walk up there as well. I mean, I get 5 games in the league.
I'd have made them do it barefoot.
Team bonding, Paddy. I mean, there's what do you think? It's the Glasgow Fishbowl, isn't it? I mean, see if Brendan had the boys out in Loch Lomond, we'd be slagging half and all, wouldn't we? Let's be honest here.
Aye, no, listen, it's one of the things you've got to, I think even the Rangers fans were in on it as well, and we're all giving it what is he doing, what is going on here. I seen the one as well, that Brendan Rodgers was taking the Celtic squad to the time capsule. It was nice for the time capsule to get mentioned on the radio and stuff as well when people were talking about it. I was quite chuffed with that. Put Coatbridge back in the map.
Make Coatbridge great again.
Aye, make Coatbridge great again. That's what it was. Then I seen the pictures of Tav, Russell Martin and somebody else, M&D's on a roller coaster and stuff. There's been loads of tin pottery kicking about, loads of wee laughs, and it's all good. Listen, let them go for a wee swim.
Do you know what? I'm going to remove your pal Chemical
Glass
because it's unsavoury garbage coming out his mouth. Like, it's not my fault your boys were in the water paddling about when they should have been training, but that's fine. Anyway, listen, there's one other thing before the game chat at the weekend, and it all is around the fan stuff. As we know, we had the fan protest where, despite the narrative that has been spun in the mainstream media, which is that it was a big fall flat on its face and it didn't work and nobody was involved in it, nobody was interested in it. Don't know what your thoughts are in the comments. We know that it's very much divisive and split people, but it's now been reported and it's factual that 75% of the away support got engaged in it and were involved. Now, how was that done? As daft as you may ask the question, well, it was done through the wonders of photography, where high resolution pictures were taken at the stand, and somebody went and counted every single head that was in the opening 12 minutes. Put that against the amount of tickets that were allocated, and it worked out that around 75% waited outside for the 12 minutes. It got the exposure, it put across the message. There was members of the board in the stands, as we would have expected. There was, of course, the banner that was placed out as well against the board. I think, all in all, it was a good effort. There you go. There's the before, there's the after. Sack the board, and the football without fans is nothing. Hopefully, that's something that came and is being taken notice of. Now, what is going to be happening with that moving forward? The fan consultation group will continue to meet. There's been a email sent out to all the fan media and persons who are involved. That'll be read through, and any updates will be fed back to yourselves, of course, in due course. Now, Paddy, one thing that we say is I think that it was good. It gave it the sort of global, if you will, exposure that we want on Sky Sports. It'd be beamed all everywhere else to the sport club across the world, getting the message out there, and it is exactly what we want. One thing, Paddy, that has came to light, and you sent it in the chat earlier on, and something that we certainly do not endorse and don't want to see, but I want to know your thoughts on it, Paddy, is this. That is, of course, the European gazebo, if you want to call it that, where all the press conferences are done outside the Celtic Park, and it has been defaced. It has been vandalised. It has been graffitied to basically in protest to the board. Now, Paddy, it comes back to what we says. Anger is high. Fans are upset, and rightfully so. But it is really, and it sounds really, really focal here. Come on, Steve. Defacing club property, stadium, etc., etc. It's not the way to do it. It's reflects poorly on this fan movement that people are trying to get together, try to do it above board, try to do it through the proper channels, try to basically legitimise and show that we are actually grown up, mature and serious about it. What's your thoughts on the likes of this, mate?
Yes, child's play, mate. That's exactly what it is, and for me, it's what the board want. It's what they expect. All they need to do now is just turn around and go, "Well, look what they're doing. That's it. Look at the state of them. This is what they're resorting to. They're just violent thugs. They're just idiots." And that's basically what that is. It's idiocracy. You're defacing the outside of your club, basically. You're defacing the stadium. It might not be attached to the stadium, but like you say, Steve, it's where we do our interviews for the
And
European
what I will
game.
say here is I want to bring this up because I know that football is life. I know you weren't happy and we had a wee chat before on the comments. As I say, value your input in that. But I do not prescribe to what you're saying there. And I will say that this isn't me going after you, mate. This is me just being honest. No, the board aren't causing fans to do that. People's poor judgment is causing them to do that, right? The board are causing fans to do the 12-minute thing, to come together as we're doing, to do what we're doing here, and continually push the message that change is required and these people aren't fit for purpose. People going out and defacing club property, that's on them. Nobody forces you to do anybody. Nobody forces you to do anybody. Or do anything, sorry. Nobody forces your hand to do anything. That's a conscious decision made by those people. And I think that it's poor, as I say, all for protest. But let's keep it above board. Let's not give the board what they want. They already think low enough of us as it is. See that there? That'll be just, look at them. That's exactly what I see that there. That's scum behaviour. That's what we're dealing with here, boys. That's why we will no back down. That's the reality. There's ways of doing it, and I don't think that's the way to do it.
Exactly, mentality, mate. You do it the right way. You go down the right channels. That for me is just childish. It's stupid. It's madness, mate, and it's not the way. It's not the way forward because, like you said, they'll just dig the heels in and go, "Aye, this is the kind of tramps we're dealing with."
I've got to laugh at that question. No, they could throw the statues through the front window. What are they, like the Incredible Hulk?
Aye, I know.
I mean,
I wouldn't take the statues.
Football's life. I am not going after you here, mate. But come on, plug your head in. I've read a lot of your comments. You clearly know what you're talking about. You're a smarter guy than that. Come on. Seriously.
Exactly. And listen, you're never going to agree with the full fan base, and everybody's going to have their own opinions on it as well. And like I say, Steve, when I was in that original call with the fan consultation group, there was a thing where somebody had said something about cars and, well, we'll do this to their cars, we'll do that to their cars and stuff like that. And it got shut down immediately for the people that were there. Like, listen, mate, that's not the way forward. That's not what we want here. We want to get together and we want to make ourselves noticed, to make our opinions noticed, to get our views across. And for me, that's not the way to do it. Yes, we want change at the club. Yes, we want people out. But spray painting it on the side of a fucking gazebo outside of Celtic Park isn't going to change it, is it? It's not going to get the point across. They know who they are. They know we want them out. So, listen, save the spray paint. Save your £5. Donate it to a charity or something. Do you know what I mean? Don't bother spray
I mean,
painting.
and listen, this is the thing, right? Now, we, as I said, we always talk about things on the show, and of course, we will always be balanced about it. I am completely for the protests. I'm completely for sending a continuous joint up message, as I says, but we will never endorse or encourage anything that verges in that. As we always say, people make their own decisions, and see if folk want to get down that route or get down the old shark throwing route or whatever it may well be that we've seen before, then on their own heads it be, so be it. That's it. You know, we would always encourage folk, do the above board stuff. People make their own decisions. And that's it.
Exactly.
But I just don't think that I don't think that what has been happening, as bad as it is, ever justifies kind of criminal damage and stuff
Right,
like that.
listen, we're all on the same boat here. We all want change. We all want this board out. We know what they're doing, and we want the change. Is that going to help it? No, it's not. So let's do it the above board way. Let's do it the way that we're getting told at the minute. We're getting kind of led with this fan consultation group. So let's see how that works. Let's see the next thing that comes up, and we'll push that forward, and we'll go forward with that. They're certainly not going to come out and tell us to go spray painting the side of Celtic Park. Do you know what I mean? Like somebody said there, the place is in a shit state as it is. We understand that. And that's down to the board, and that's part of the reason why we want them out. We've got all these hordes of cash that we're not spending in players. Let's spend it at the stadium. And if we're going to be graffiti and
I mean, and folk are going to turn around. Folk are going to turn around and say they've got enough money they can afford to change. I get that, but
yeah, that's one of
it's
the
near
spend on
it
players.
isn't the principle. It's the principle. Sorry, it's not the point. And I just think as well, like as we said, there's already a negative. For all that I know folk won't care. There's already the mainstream media are jumping all over it and they're loving it and they just want an extra inch, and it just paints the cause of the fan group and what we're trying to do through legitimate means. It puts it in a bad light, and I think that to get sort of positive backing, you want to be seen in the best light of what you're doing. You want your cause to be seen in the best light as you possibly can. I just think things like that take away from it. That's my 2 pence worth. That's as much as I want to say on it, Paddy.
Pretty much, mate. Yeah, you've hit the nail on the head. Going forward, we want to protest the way that we deem legal. Rabbi got it spot on. Do the right things and stay together. Absolutely perfect, mate. Don't let them divide and conquer us, because that's what they want to do. They want to divide the fan base. They want to keep us all against each other, and they managed to do that. Obviously, the 12-minute thing. You've seen some fans in the stadium, some fans outside the stadium, and that you're never going to get 100% compliance. I'm going through a pay rise dispute just now as well, and there's people saying that it's a great pay rise and people saying that it's crap, and you're never going to get the 100 people coming in and deciding and stuff there. So listen, it is what it is. You stick together, you hope for the best, and you do it the legal way. And that's kind of our views on it, I suppose, isn't it?
That's it. As I say, I see some people are obviously saying for the sort of play devil's advocate. Who knows? It couldn't. Maybe it wasn't Celtic fans. Maybe it was Rangers fans causing trouble. Based on their protests, I think they've got enough to worry about themselves and coming to Celtic Park doing that. But it is what it is. But anyway, Paddy, let's crack on before we finish up. We're just over an hour. Be quick 5-minute flash as we look towards Partick Thistle. We're talking about wholesale changes. I think it's a game where you've got to be quite comfortable with making a change there. We've said about bringing in McCown, Bernardo, bringing in Engels. One is Simpson Pusey. Is that a time to get? I mean, is this guy going to start? What's the point? Is that one to bring in?
I don't know what the deal is with him, mate. He's another Bernardo, isn't he? Why is he not started? He's another one that will appear on the side of milk cartons. He's just he's come up here for City, promises of the world. He's going to be the next Vincent Kompany. Apparently, he's going to be the next leader of Man City. This is what they think. He's Pep Guardiola's golden child, and he's come up here. He's been left out of the Europa League squad. He's not even had a sniff. He's not even been on the bench a few of the games. And you look at him in training, and he's an absolute unit. The defence is a part that we've always really struggled with over the last couple of seasons. It's a position that we're no really strong in. We don't really have that much depth. So if he is going to get a start, this is his best shout. But then I would rather see Dane Murray, who again is one of our own, in there, and I'd rather see Scales again, give him the game time rather than bringing in somebody who's promised to Man City that we don't even have an option to buy because he's up here for a loan just to get extra time. Like somebody like Wilson saying there, he's a loyal signing without a shadow of a doubt.
I mean,
I agree with that.
That's the thing is, there has been rumours that he had a bit of an attitude problem, didn't want to play in the B squad and so on.
Yeah.
But I just think that I know that if you come up to your Celtic's property whilst you're here, and they'll play and do as they see fit to get you up to game speed. But at the same time, if I'm being a wee bit fair to him, it is a bit schneid in it if you're brought up and then you're chucked into playing Maryhill Stanklifters on an Ash Park, essentially, in the B squad playing against absolute nobodies. Are you better than that? Maybe that remains to be seen. You've not really proven yourself, but you could maybe understand why if you've been maybe sold something, whether it's been a club signing or not, and then you could maybe understand, well, that isn't what was maybe put out to me, but we'll maybe never know what was sold to him.
I think he's been told he's coming up here for Champions League experience. I think that's what it's been, and obviously he's not had the chance to get involved in the qualifier or anything like that. He wasn't even in the squad for that. And then he's not had a chance in the league. He's not really had a look at it.
We saw that change in the Instagram. It was a wee philosophical quote about, biding your time and all that. It's probably kind of, I think that just based off of what we've seen so far, I don't imagine he's going to feature too much, to be honest. And I wouldn't be surprised if he was another guy that made his way back down to Man City come January.
Yeah, send him down. I'm no fuss with that. Like somebody said in there as well, Wilson says he was a Peter Lawwell signing. Basically, he's one of the ones. He's got the Man City links, isn't he? So he's one that's been brought in there and tried to kind of get him in. Birthday card pish. I love it. He's one of the guys. He's come up here with the view of playing all the time and getting all this game time. But nah, for me, send him back down the road. We've got enough cover to get us through. Big Dane Murray will see us right. He's
and see, looking at the game against Partick, for me, I think that you need to give Iheanacho a start. I think it's an opportunity in a low-risk game to start him and try and get him up to a wee bit of match fitness. I think that's definitely the one change I would go with. I'd be dropping Negan, Calm and Rio. I'd just be totally flipping that midfield, and I would have Iheanacho. I would, Iheanacho, Juneki and Balikwisha. I would try out those three new guys there. And again, as I say, looking back to what we saw for Balikwisha, a great opportunity for him to kick on. Sarashi, I'd keep him in. I don't think you need to risk KT in a match like that, although he could probably be doing with the match game time as well for a wee bit of fitness as well. But no, I think that it's a good opportunity, and I'm definitely expecting something a lot better than we've seen, Paddy. This is one where I am saying that I want a 4-0.
I'll be expecting a wee bit more than 4-0. I'll go for the L 420 then. I'll go for the 6-0 for a game like this. I remember, do you know what, 6-1 possible. Give Tony Watt a goal. Tony's playing there, isn't he? So he'll have his new socks on and stuff like that, and we'll give Tony a goal. We'll give him a wee shot in there. I'll go 6-0. Just for 420. 6-1. I'm going to go 6-1.
Go, but yes, and it makes me say we'll get a wee bit. I'd like to see again, well, Donovan, more game time for him. I would like to see Dane Murray. I think, play Dane Murray, keep Carter Vickers out. I'd be more than happy. And more importantly, I think that I want to see a Sinister Cup run. I think we need to get him in and get him some game time. But feeling confident about that one there, Paddy. I mean, I'd rather have our cup draw than the other cup draw.
Who they got?
That's out there. Oh, it's a tough game, mate, Paddy. Come on. Plug your
I
brain in.
can't even think, mate.
Put it this way, they didn't want their manager for it, Paddy.
What?
They didn't want their manager for it. You
I
seriously
don't
don't know? You're killing me
know.
here,
No, my
Paddy.
head's went blank, mate.
They're playing Hibernian, Paddy.
Oh, lovely. Aye, good luck with that.
Yep, there you go. That's it.
That's-
And that'll work for us. Aberdeen play Motherwell, Rangers play Hibs, and we are on this Sunday. And what is the other game? Let me have a wee quick swatcheroo. That's us. Aye, it's not too bad. I think there must be a game on a Friday then, correct me if I'm wrong. Must be another
No
one there.
idea.
It's decent. I'll take that, Paddy. But yes, I'm feeling confident there. I'm looking for a proper performance here, and I'd like to see Rangers get put on. Oh, that'd be great fun. That'd
The
be
icing on the cake. I think that would be the final nail in the Russell Martin coffin if Hibs had to put them out of the cup. I think that would be the final straw for them. I think the fans would be singing that song that they're singing at the end of every game.
what,
Boo.
the boo one,
Aye.
or the Martin get to F1, that one.
Well, there's a few kicking about, but listen, forget about them. I'm all about the Celtic. I want us to go out there and put in a performance. As I say every single week when we're on here, I want a proper Celtic performance. I want
Yes.
a
And
load of goals.
one last thing before we go, we've briefly spoke about the board, Paddy. We've spoke about the name came up, a Peter Wall production, maybe Simpson Pusey, these club signings there. There was swirling rumours that Mr. Wall was going to be leaving, but nothing's really came off that. I mean, it's pretty clear that we've established that he is the guy that's been feeding the garbage to the media. And I think that it's definitely an easy target. Now, we put into that fan consultation chat, as you know, there was the thing that came via the Irish supporters group, and they were sort of balloting, right? It was, do you show no vote, no confidence, this person, this person, this person, this person. I think probably Peter Wall is the quickest and easiest way to get back a wee bit of favour among the fan base, Paddy. The silence has been almost deafening, but these protests are not going away. This is going to continually happen, as we well know. This is going to continually happen. Do you think, if I was asking you, put a time scale on it, do you think there's going to be any immediate change at board level for any of the people that are being outlawed? And if so, what are you sort of thinking?
I think if we get rid of somebody, nobody should go into that position because that's what we normally do, isn't it? We sell Nicholas Kuhn, we don't bring in a replacement. We sell Adam Ida, we don't bring in a replacement. So if we get rid of Peter Lawwell, we'll just leave the position open. We don't need him to fill it. It's absolutely fine if we get rid of Nicholson. We don't need somebody to run the club. It's fine. It'll run itself. It's all well. I think that Peter Lawwell's the easy one, isn't he? He's the one that everybody's kind of looking at and going, yeah, get him out first. He's the one that we need to get out. He's the one that's been there, and he's the one that's the public face of all this. He's the penny pincher. He's the one that's as tight as a duck's arse. He's right in about it. So for me, he's the one that needs to go, and he's an easy option. I thought Tisdale as well would have been an easy option because he's in there on whatever he's on. I don't know, 600 grand a year or something.
Yeah.
Doing nothing. But aye, there's a few, mate. There's a few people in there that I think will go. I don't think it'll be a massive announcement that Lawwell's out. I think it'll be out the back door, kind of just weed his way out, essentially.
Another thing that we're looking to keep interest in is the Europa League package. I believe the deadline was either today or tomorrow. Now, I certainly am across my chat groups with some friends. There's been at least 6 that have been offered out with no takers. That's quite reassuring to see, and I'll be interested to see the amount of sales that come out of that, because again, when Tom is using it as balance, when you look at them across the city, they're having a bit of a ticket sale backlash as well. So I'm really interested to see, because as soon as those don't go up for sale, you will start getting those general sales popping up, and we'll get a sort of indication of how this board is going to react, because let's face it, the money is one of the things that's going to get the message through. And starting with that Europa League, the amount of tickets that have been claimed for that package, that'll give them a right good indication. And also that's something that we'll feed back. What do you reckon the uptake percentage-wise is likely to be if you were a gambling man, Paddy?
I'd like to say 60-40 probably. The 60% of people will probably take it, I would imagine. And what I don't want is this to cause the kind of scab mentality. Footballers likes putting in there as well. He's saying like, "Oh, boycott it if you're a true fan and whatever else." And listen, boycotting tickets or going to games or whatever doesn't make you a true Celtic fan, mate. It's, for me, people that go with their kids and whatever else. This is games that you look forward to. This is kind of big games, and everybody wants to go to the European games. You want to be there under the lights at Celtic Park, whether it be in the Champions League, the Europa League, or the Conference League, or whatever. You want to be there for the big games. And I still think that when they do go on general sale, they'll probably sell. A lot of these people that don't get the chance to go to these so-called big games because there are so many season ticket holders, I think they'll buy them. I think they'll still go there. And I think they'll still come out and take them. And that's the be-all and end-all of it. Like I said, you're never going to agree with 100% of the fan base. So I would like to see them being boycotted for a decent amount. I'd like to see a decent percentage. I'd like to see at least 40% of the Celtic season ticket holders boycott the Europa League package. And I think if they do, that'll send a message. But
well, Paddy, it will send a message, but as we say, it's more than likely going to get taken. There's going to be enough. There will be enough people, as we said, whether we like it or not. The other fans, the people are part of the sort of protests, the fan group. We can't control the thoughts and that, and we would never try to control or tell folk what to do. As you said, everybody does things different. Kieran's saying we need another merch drop. That'll be the next thing that'll be coming out. Buy your hats and scarves with the Europa League on it, the Europa League badge on it. But yes, the big game started. The Champions League game started the other night tonight, and there's some on tomorrow. It's just a shame they weren't there. And do you know what? I'll be having a wee look out to see how the mighty Kairat Almaty do in their opening game, Paddy.
Hope they get scudded. I want to see them become the worst team in European history. I want them absolutely melted every single game. Talking to the merch drop, I just want to give a wee plug to my lovely new green t-shirt here. I got this for Saucer Clothing, who are upcoming brand. You might have seen the viral video where they gave t-shirts to Brendan Rodgers for him and the squad. Me and Steve were lucky enough to meet the owner of Saucer, and she's given me this lovely t-shirt to wear. Lovely, nice green t-shirt. We Saucer sign there, and Saucer on the back. Cracking t-shirt, lovely fit, brilliant material. Less than 20 quid. Get yourself there, saucerclothing.com.
You can look at Celtic Dad as Paddy there.
I'm the original Celtic Dad. Everybody knows it. And if I can't buy anything for Celtic from boycotting them, then I'm going to spend my money in Saucer buying everything green that they've got.
Yes. Anyway, Paddy, time flies when you're having a moan, doesn't it? And why are you having a moan? Because we're 9 points ahead, Paddy. We're 9 points ahead. And we go into the game against Partick, which should be fairly comfortable. And then, of course, we've got some more interesting things, Red Star and Hibs in the league. So I think that as terms of a springboard game, the weekend is as good as any, isn't it? A nice wee sort of easy cruiser before 2 quite difficult games. And I think that definitely I'm looking for a wee bounce, looking for a change, and I'm going to go, as I say, I'll go 4-0, Paddy. I'll go 4-0. So thanks for joining me, mate. Thank you for joining us. I say we would have been out earlier if I wasn't feeling like absolute dog meat. It's in the post, the new COVID thing. You'll probably get it, but you don't need to isolate. No, it's beautiful, isn't it? Brilliant.
I know, that's it. We just do what we want now. And listen, guys, like Steve says, we'd rather play shite and be top than be sitting 10th. And that's Absolutely. It. We might not be firing on all cylinders, but we're certainly top of the league. And you know what? Bring on the Jambos so that we can put them in their place as well. I'm looking forward to that.
And apologies for the sort of delay. And I might have to take the guys down to Loch Lomond and tell them to go in. Or maybe take them down to Drumpeller Locks and tell them to get their bodies in the water for not being on before now. Right.
Let's do it.
So anyway, take care of yourselves. If you've not done it, hit the subscribe. We'll catch up with you closer to the game against Partick. So we'll see you later. And Paddy boy, as always.
As always, guys, hail, hail.
See you all later. Bye-bye. Take care.